The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
And I'm the host of Always Another Way podcast. I have a master's in professional counseling. I am the IPPY Award-winning author of Stop Looking for a Husband, Find the Love of Your Life, and Nasty Divorce, A Kid's Eye View. I write positive divorce advice for the HuffPost, and I'm trained in clinical hypnosis. And this podcast is for out-of-the-box thinkers and for those who hear the call of hope and always another way. And if you are very rigid in your beliefs, this might not be your cup of tea. However, you should note, tastes can and do change. And I want to thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you are subscribed on your podcast app, because the more subscribers we have, the more people can hear all of my amazing guests. And today is no different than the others. And with life, as you know, if you've been part of it for any amount of time, is a journey. There are good times, there are bad times, there are sad times, there are breathtaking times. You go in hills and valleys and crevices, underwater sometimes, all kinds of places. But you are never stuck in any one situation. And that is what Always Another Way is about. There is another way. And my guest today is going to bring light to a word that really embodies Always Another Way, and she's got a very, very inspiring story to tell. So I'm going to read to you a little something she wrote. My guest is Brook Cheatham, and she's a yogi and an entrepreneur, and this is from her. Empowered, a word I live by. All of us have the ability to overcome things in our lives. Defining moments in our story give us a choice, the courage to either become our truth or live in a lie. Before yoga came into my life, I was a young mother strapped to a corporate job with a laundry list full of guilt, shame, and baggage from a turbulent youth. Fitness goals led me to yoga, and yes, I became physically strong, but slowly I began to notice changes occurring in my actual nature. The baggage from my past started to slowly get stripped away. I began to realize who I was deep down, and deep inside beauty started to unfold where there was once only pain. My past does not define me, but I know the challenges I've been blessed with in this life are so that I can empower others with the knowledge that we all have is to look inside for our answers. And that is what yoga does for you. It strips away what is not real and replaces it with love and gives you back what you truly are at your core, your spirit. And my favorite part, it is never too late to start. So welcome to the show, Brooke.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I mean, you have just a wonderful energy about you that's just super contagious. And if you ever come see her with any one of these things, you'll find out too.
Thank you.
But I figured we would begin kind of at the beginning, where a lot of people are I'm humming along and I just something doesn't feel right. So take us back there.
Well, I like my bio says, I was a young mother. I was 23, and I had already been through probably more in my life than most people even see in their entire life, as far as turbulent youth is putting it really lightly, because you can't put all of that into a bio. But I was trying to change because I was a mom, and I was super impatient. I lose my temper, and I knew that something had to give. So I started getting into fitness, and I became a personal trainer first because I needed some sort of outlet to just get rid of all my excess energy. And then when I started yoga, I really did, I know it sounds cliche, but I really did, from the moment I started it, know that something was really different. And it really started to change me. And the most major change I saw in the beginning was my patience level of just being able to handle things without flying off the handle or throwing things or just being, crazy.
And what's so cool about that is that at 23, you realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a young age, because a lot of people don't know, and just reactivity especially if you've grown up with like, we can't pick our parents, or circumstances, the things that happen to us, like whatever in that youth. But to know that like, hey, this is not working for me. I see it's affecting people and I want to change. What do you think like gave you that ability to see that early on?
Well, I actually saw it a lot earlier than that. So in my youth, I had the opportunity to be homeless at times and be with street kids and do drugs and all of those things that you do to survive, basically. And at the time, the man that I married, that I was with, he became addicted to heroin. And so through that, I might cry on this.
That's okay.
Just so you know.
It's free and it's good for you.
Yeah, it is.
It's cleansing tears.
So through, me trying to pull myself out of that hole, trying to get my stuff together, I would say about 19 or 20, I really realized that I had to get away from that lifestyle completely, but he was still addicted to heroin. So as I slowly started to build my life back up, he was still in that place. And so I had to like bring him up out of that. And so, yeah, I really started to recognize earlier on in that if I didn't make huge shifts, then I was going to be forever stuck in that place of not having enough money, not having any hope for what my life was going to be, or even, what I wanted it to be at that point. So, yeah, I mean, I know everything happens for a reason and it all layers upon lesson after lesson. But yeah, I started noticing earlier than that. But at 23, I think really having a kid is what does it. You realize, okay, I have another human being I'm responsible for, and I have to show them my best self. So
right.
Yeah.
And so as you start making these changes, so we'll go back to you're in your early 20s, you're finding fitness. How was it a quick shift, or was it just like little bits by bits, and how did that work out?
It was immediate. So I'm very physical. I always have been. I was a ballerina. So when I found fitness, I never was pushed into that realm. And now that I'm older, I'm like, Mom, why didn't you make me do all these other things? Because I'm really, really good. I go to CrossFit and I may be like low in the beginning, but then I always beat everybody by the end.
Nice.
So as soon as I got into it, I was like, okay, this is what I've been needing. I've been needing this outlet because I have a lot of energy.
And it's super good for your mental health too, like FYI, like exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Winner chicken dinner on that one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scientifically proven.
Yeah. Ta-da! Okay, so you start seeing these changes, and then how is your life sort of shifting there, with that?
It's interesting because now I'm divorced, and I should have seen this way back then, but my life started taking this path, and then my partner's life started staying on the same path, And so I started eating healthier. I started taking care of myself. I started caring about rest, not going out, not drinking, getting my kids into fitness with me as I started to have more and more of them. But yeah, I mean, that's really the shifts that I started making, was just seeking out friends and seeking out places that were supporting that lifestyle. And when I noticed the happiness that I had, and also the people, I mean, people who are healthy, they're not always happy, but the majority of them are because they feel better.
Yeah.
So that was really, I think, the major shift for me. Was like, okay. And then I quit my corporate job. I'm just 6 months getting into fitness. I was like, okay, this is my path. I'm going to do this.
And were you scared? Like, how was that decision of like?
It was scary because of, it's security.
Yeah.
It's a security blanket to know, like, I can go into this place and I have insurance and I have a steady paycheck. And when you're in the fitness world, you are definitely bound to how many clients that you have or how many classes that you teach. So yeah, it was definitely scary. It was a big step for sure.
And did you just make the decision to do it, or did you hem and haw? Or was there anybody telling you like, yeah, you should do this, or no, you shouldn't do it?
Not know that I shouldn't do it. I mean, I had people that were supportive of me, but it was, it was really more so that I could be more available in my kids' lives, honestly, because I make my own schedule as a fitness professional. So if I need to go and be there at the Valentine's Day party, then I can be there, and those types of things. So that was, I was young, so you're looking at your free time
Very nice.
as something really important.
And where do you find, like, so as you're moving along, where did you find like inspiration, and any outside sources or people?
Oh my
or
gosh.
things? Yeah.
Well, when you start in fitness, if you love it, you become a junkie. And I laugh that, or I make the joke that I probably have a PhD in fitness because you never stop. I mean, I'm constantly taking certifications. But in the beginning, you remember that book, Body for Life?
I think so.
Yeah, that
like
was
a
like
super long time ago. Yeah.
major. And then in that book, he gave references to other people. And that just really started it, was looking to people that knew these things, knew how to help you with your health, and just never stop learning, never stop.
Very, very nice. Okay, so when you, I guess, how do you begin to, like, as this goes, to see these outwardly changes, and you're like, okay, I came from here, I'm coming from there. Did you have, at any point, like, any doubts, or did you just know, like, okay, I'm on the right path, I see these changes, this is where I'm going?
I think we all have doubts, I have doubts every day, for sure, because as you grow, it's scary. And so you have that programming, unless you're Tony Robbins, right? You have that programming that says, maybe you shouldn't be doing this, maybe you need to be looking for other things. But I've been very fortunate my entire life to have a strong intuition. And I really think that being a street kid has something to do with that, because you have to learn immediately who is out to harm you and who is out to help you, or who can be a good soul or bad soul. And street kids, they have that innately in them. They know who's going to give them money when they ask for it, and they know who won't. And so that was something that I always kind of knew, okay, this is the right path because the signs are there. Deepak Chopra has coined the term synchronicity, and that's still present in every day of my life. Literally, like I see the signs that lead me in the right direction. So yeah, there's doubt, that you doubt yourself, but there's a higher power that's guiding all of this. And if you stay connected to that, you know you're in the right path.
I love that. And what's so interesting too, but when you brought that up about like being intuitive to know to like also trust yourself. And I know a lot of people, and then myself, depending on like what kind of situations you're in, and especially people that are in, I talk about toxic relationships a lot. And if you're in a toxic or abusive relationship, it can make you feel crazy or feel otherwise, or maybe you see things not going that way and you begin to like, what's real, and what's not. But to truly like focus in and dial into, and I think you said you believe that people do know what is real and what's guiding you.
Definitely.
So let's so from there, let's see where do we want to say of the so tell us like a little bit about like what you're doing now and kind of what that looks like.
Okay. Yeah. So I gotta back up just a little bit though. Yeah. So I'm all into yoga. I'm 1000% a yoga teacher now. But I made that jump because while I was doing my yoga certification, I was still doing personal training for many, many years. I probably took my last client on in 2009, maybe 2009. But I started to notice, even in my personal training sessions, I was teaching them yoga, and they were getting stronger and healthier and making those positive mental changes from that, rather than coming in and just getting beat down. So I started just moving into that path. I owned a studio for a little while. I did that. I decided that that wasn't the best use of my time. My family was growing. I had 4 children at this point. And so I sold that, and I started consulting with studios because I became a legend in the Dallas yoga community. They were like, how did you sell a studio? Because nobody does that, right?
Yeah.
So I started consulting.
Go girl.
I know. Right? And it's still there today, by the way. If you want to go to Allen, it's Vibe Yoga. It's still there. But whenever that happened, studios contacted me. So I worked behind the scenes to help them. And just through that relationship building, I've really grown this huge network of people, and it can be very competitive for some businesses to have advice and things like that. So that's really how I've gotten where I am now, through my network of people. I run a very successful online training business, as well as I work with NFL players and elite athletes. And that's partially with intuition and also all of my training that I've had throughout the years. And that's where I am right now. I focus solely on retreats, Costa Rica.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, definitely. That's my annual
Bringing the
retreat.
vibe there.
It's my happy place. And then my athletes and my online trainings, teacher trainings.
Yeah. And how important do you think that is to have that, obviously since you're doing that, but what is that next level of from just fitness and working out? Because I've done the both and can see it. But for people who are just maybe just like, they're just doing whatever kind of just like straight up fitness stuff, not yoga or the other intuitive things. What do you think, if you were to level it out, what's the difference?
The difference? Well, I mean, I would like to maybe frame that in what's the reason that they would want to.
Yeah.
So fitness people try to touch your toes and see how you feel. And that's really the main thing. It's that we have to lengthen our bodies and take care of our joints in that way. Otherwise, when we wake up, when we're 60, we're not going to be able to stand up straight. Our feet are going to be hurting. Our knees are going to be hurting. So that's really why yoga is so important. And fitness people, once they try it, usually they don't like it because they like the music and they like, to be moving constantly and have this different thing happening all the time. But those are the people that need it the most, because if you can't slow down your mind, you can't slow down your breath. You don't slow down your breath, you don't slow down your heart. You don't slow down your heart, you only have so many beats.
Yeah.
And so your life expectancy is longer when you take more time to take care of the insides, right? The emotional baggage, the blood pressure, all the things that are happening on the inside.
Very, very important to have all that stuff going. Because if you don't have health, makes it harder.
Does make it harder.
Yeah, no good. But I love yoga too.
Yeah.
And I had found it in college. I was 20 years old, and they had it was like an elective class. They had neat things, and didn't, yoga's obviously been around for thousands of years, but it was new to me at that time. And what I did notice was that, and a lot of people, maybe like me too, are just like on life, just like going on super autopilot, maybe a little blind, dodging bullets, and just like, for a lot of people coping. And you came from that, especially if you are on the street. That's like, you're high alert at all times, no time to chill.
Yeah.
And what it does to just bring you to yourself, I think can be super life-changing.
And that's, like you're saying, you like to go da-da-da-da-da. Well, yoga, there's no end. There's a restorative, there's a beginner, there's yin, there's kundalini, there's meditation, there's Zen meditation, there's Buddhist there's literally, I think, like 17,000 different types of ways that you can practice yoga. Running is running. Weightlifting is weightlifting. So it's something that grows with you through your entire life and evolves as you evolve as a person and is right for you in the moment that it meets you at.
Very, very cool. And so with all this now, like, how is this like just in your shaping your life going forward? We'll go up a little bit more into yoga, doing all this. Now, how did you deal with like kids and marriage going a different direction, but to keep yourself still grounded and focused?
That takes discipline, right? So I have to do my practice, and that discipline of getting up, having that set time. That's habit training. That's been proven scientifically that that's what we do as humans. We have to have a little carrot to get us there. But once we form that habit, then we change things in our life. Like everything falls into place around us. Because, just because I do yoga doesn't mean I am disciplined, right? So I think discipline is really important, but I don't think I would have the patience to be able to continue to do all the things that I want to do. And, I don't know if you mentioned this, but that I was an entrepreneur or whatever, but I think that has a lot to do with it too. Just having that drive to consistently reach more people with the message and help more people. You can't stop.
Yeah. And so, okay, this got me thinking when you were talking about that discipline, that key word of, and I think a lot of people sometimes think like, I'm here. Like, where is it? Magic, heaven. But there's work that comes. You didn't just get this way just like floating by. It's the hard work that comes with that discipline. How do you, what would you suggest to somebody who, because I know there are a lot of people they have ideas like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and it does not how do you find to get discipline on the days when maybe you're not feeling discipline?
I think you have to make a plan, first of all. And I always, when I'm coaching people, I help my students whenever I'm trying to help them with whatever the project is that we're working on, I say, okay, what's the big picture? Where do you want to be in 1 year from now? And then we work backwards. So even if it's just a small goal, maybe you want to start eating, maybe you want to lose 10 pounds, who knows, maybe something like that. Whatever that is, you set a date for that to happen, and then you track backwards and see what you have to do on a daily basis to make that happen. And then you set your alarm, you go to bed on time, you eat right, and you get up and you do it.
Nice.
I mean, it sounds super easy and simple. It does take effort from you, and that's the thing, is that a lot of us don't change until we're faced with something that makes us change. And that's a horrible thing to have happen to you, to have some sort of physical ailment happen that finally makes you change. And I just think that people understanding small right actions lead to big change in their lives.
And then you don't have to wait for that rock bottom, which I know I've done that like a couple times, like not seeing it, not going, and then guess I'm going to do something.
Definitely.
But much easier if you can get ahead of that train wrecking ball.
Yeah. And we feel good, when we do things and we're working really hard and we see the result. Sometimes it's like, sit back, take a moment, take a breath. But if you have big, lofty goals, you really have to just keep pushing forward on those. Take that breath whenever you've reached your goal, right? So yeah, just staying with it is my biggest thing that I tell people. Just stay with it. You'll get there. Don't give up.
Nice.
Don't give up.
I love that. And that is just such a good thing. So we'll go into that, why it's not too late to start.
Okay.
So for anybody out there listening and they're like, oh, I'm old and I'm creaky and I've never worked out in my life. What do you say to people?
Well, yesterday I actually had a phone conversation with a 7-year-old woman who teaches 90 to 100-year-olds. Nice. And, they're just starting yoga for their first time because it's offered in the community that they live in. So if that's not too late to start, then I don't know what is.
Right?
But yeah, exactly. I mean, we all have this opportunity to do it, and there's so many avenues available. There's apps, there's free YouTube videos, I've got programs online. I mean, you can literally find it on every corner and just by opening up your phone. So if someone has a goal to do it, then start researching it, look into who good teachers are. If you have an injury, inquire about it. And that's one thing. People don't realize that we do this because we love this. And I'm speaking for yoga instructors. And although money is great, normally we do it just for the love of it, whether we're getting it or not. So the thing is that they want to help you no matter what. And some people are intimidated by saying, oh, I have a knee injury. How do I do this? Tell your yoga instructor exactly what you need, and they can point you in the right direction, or even call your local studio.
Yeah. And let's talk more about that, because for people that haven't been in yoga and then they're just like, oh, I'm not flexible and I can't do that. But I found this too. How welcoming is the yoga community?
So welcoming. Yeah.
I mean, when you walk in there, are you going to feel welcomed?
It's a love fest.
It's a total love fest.
Major.
And does
Sweaty
anybody
love.
care if somebody's pretzeling out and the other person is like barely
No.
forward folding?
Just the other person. They're the only people that think like, oh, they're looking at me. And it's funny because everybody, when they first start yoga, or even me today, I can't say when they first start, when you're taking a yoga class, sometimes the teacher will say something and you're like, oh, they're talking to me. They're talking to the group, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny, we feel intimidated, like, oh, is my form not right or something? And it's a group experience. We're all in this together, whether you're touching your toes or not. We're all getting the same benefit.
I love that.
Yeah.
A work in progress.
Yeah.
So now where are you now?
Where am I now? So my main focus right now is my online teacher trainings. And the reason that is my focus is because I did live trainings forever. I did like big group trainings, 20 or 30 teachers, sometimes 10. And I started to notice this breakdown of people's lives being so busy. People were always late to training, or they'd have to miss a weekend for a wedding, or they would be taking over the time, everyone else's time, with a long story. So I started to notice this level of respect that was coming down, and I really wanted something more for my students. I wanted them to dig deep, just like I dig deep. And so with the online training, I do these one-on-one sessions with people, and I can work on their actual goals, and I can find hidden things that they're saying about themselves or about their lives or whatever, and help them on the path to breaking free of those patterns and those habits, but also finding their true authentic self, which is how we become powerful as leaders in our community. So that's what my main focus is. And then of course, my Costa Rica retreats, I keep visiting so that one day they just say, here's a house. You can have this house.
So tell me about those Costa Rica retreats. What goes down there? Who comes to those?
Oh my gosh, they're the best. They're the best in the world. So I do them in the Osa Peninsula. I've been to other places. I haven't found a better place. And you get into the jungle. We're all sweating it out together. There's no makeup involved, no hair dryers, nothing like that. But you eat the most delicious food you've ever possibly imagined in your life. The surf is so gentle that you'll see these massive waves coming to you. And when they get to you, they're just like so soft. Nothing throws you down to the ground. We do yoga. We do 2 practices a day. We do restorative. We do nidra. We do meditation. We'll have advanced practice. We'll have beginner practice. And we go on adventures. We do horseback riding and waterfall rappelling and kayaking. And last year we went on a boat tour where we actually got to swim with dolphins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they put this thing on the back of the boat and pull you deep down under the water, and you literally swim with dolphins and hold monkeys. And yeah, I mean, it's my happy place. It really is. And that's the thing, like I've been doing self-work for so long and working on myself, and I don't like to discount those things, but the first time I went to Costa Rica, every year since that I've come back from there, something has shifted in my life. I have like these major aha moments. And I know it's because of, the nature and the beauty and less pollution and less time on our cell phones and connecting with each other in such a deep way. And the food that they're giving you is like nourishing your body. I know that all of that has to do with my evolution these past few years and just giving me that courage to continue to move forward, and also helping me be more strong in my heart and in my spirit. So
I love that. And I bet with all those people together, that event, it just empowers everybody. That energy and the more minds in doing it together can be like you said, super life-changing.
Definitely. Yeah.
I know you got more going on. What else?
So I'm also working for a company called True Fusion in Dallas, and I am the yoga director there. So I'm running all kinds of events all the time, and we're going to open really soon. It's going to be hot yoga and non-hot yoga, and yoga for big and yoga for little, and yoga for the broken and yoga for the healed. So yeah, it's going to be amazing place.
Super nice.
Yeah, and I'm writing a book. You can't forget about my book.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So it's a work in progress for sure, as you can imagine. But even when I was in my darkest times even when I was 14 years old, I knew at that time that I wanted to do something to help people just like me. Because I still had hope. I don't know how. I mean, I do. There's things that showed me hope, of course. But literally, I know a lot of people say that, I should have died before I was 18. I really should have died about 100 times, just from the things that the dangerous situations I would put myself in. And I knew at that time that there's something flawed in the way that we're raising our young girls. And there's something flawed in the way that we're not teaching them about their worth. And so at that time, I knew I wanted to go back to those places and help those people so that they knew from a really young age that they are worthy, no matter if they weren't receiving it at home, no matter if they were the best home life ever, that they were worthy of all of these things that I'm helping to bring out. So that's what my book is going to be about, is about my journey and how I pulled myself out of those depths, and how I'm still continuing to work on myself, but also still facing challenges and how I'm overcoming them, just to really give hope.
I love that. That's like lifelong resilience, because there is, and especially in this country and around the world, more people living in poverty than not. And you cannot control your situation, whether you're, I say this all the time, my dad calls it like the lucky sperm club or the lucky egg club. Like, you cannot pick who you are born to and what circumstances there are, but you can come up from anything.
Yeah.
You really, really can. And I love it that not only have you done that, like time and time again, but to just help others and to see like within that. And to me, that shows like, I think you get to like a more evolved state when you decide that it's not about just you anymore, but you found healing, found something better, that hope, and want to share it to other people to be like, wait, it's not just like this. There's more, even if you can't see it right now.
Definitely. Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head.
So cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there is.
Just wake up.
So is there anything that we did not talk about or something else that you want to impart to everybody listening here? The whole world.
The whole world is listening. Just to never give up hope, go for your dreams and seek out help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I know it seems so simple, but sometimes we hold everything in, and that's really been one of the main things through my journey is knowing when to reach out for help and who to ask it from.
That's a good one, because I get scared to ask for help too. I'm a therapist. Because it's hard. It's just that ingrained of like, I just feel like it's weak. But it's shame, weak, but it's not.
It's not. It's empowering. And once you do, you feel amazing. Even if they say no, you feel amazing.
And there's more people that will help.
There is.
Always. Always. So let's talk about, and we're going to put this in the show notes too, like everywhere you can find Brook. If you want to go to her events, teacher training, True Fusion, private consulting, everything, she's down.
I'm down.
Okay. So where do we find you?
BrookCheatham.com.
Okay. And that'll be in the show notes, but he's got a beautiful photo up here with Ganesha, my fave.
Yeah, that wall is no longer in Dallas. They tore that building down. It's so sad.
Oh.
I know.
Pobrecita. Anyways. Well, thank you so much, Brook. I love your story. I love just that you're inspirational and you're just have this positive energy about you that even though we know life is not always on a direct incline, it goes like this, but to keep that hope, and that's that song, like you get knocked down, but you get up again. They're never going to keep you down. But that's what you are a true example of, is it doesn't matter where you are. You just keep going up, and you're such an inspiration for others.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. And for all of you listening, you know that there is always another way.